Okay, we're back. Okay, I gotta go get my adapter tool here. Okay, I'm gonna use my 2-jaw puller to pull that gear. This pushes on in here. It spreads a nice flat surface here in the shaft. If you put this into the shaft, it spreads the shaft out and screws it all up. So we do it this way. I'm sure they have a nice fancy puller that's supposed to do this the correct way, but this is how I do it and it works. Okay. So we can cut a little bit off this gear, cut a little bit off this gear, and everything moves out. Now, what I didn't think about trying is, if I reverse this gear, would it make any difference? I've never done that before, so I don't know. Let's find out. There's only one way to find out, is to look at things. Okay, so we go ahead and put the gear on there. We mark it. Tooth is right here. So there's your mark. It's right at the edge of the inside of that bottom of the root. That tooth, take it out, flip it around, put it back on, and look at the change we got. We have a difference. We moved it over half a tooth. I think we have a winner here. See, I just thought of that. It looks like it might be the answer. It's always nice when you come up with an easy solution. All the years I've been doing this, I've always put the gear in one way. Maybe I should have learned to do it backwards before. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and tap this thing on. So lots of light taps. Better than big taps. When you hear that heavy banging, you better stop. That means you bottomed out. Okay, so now I'm going to take our oil pump. Get that out of the way a little bit. Put this up in there. Okay, there's our valve. Mark at right there. Yeah. That is definitely too far back. One tooth. Where'd my bolt go? Get all the junk bolts. Where's the good bolt? Question. What happened to it? Couldn't have gone far. I guess I have to use a crappy one. It's out of sight, out of mind. Not over there either. Okay, let's see if this does the trick. So, lots of clearance up. Go back. All the way up in here. Okay, we got our mark coming around. This mark right here is what we want. Right about there. Should put me close to my mark. Once again, I can't see the mark. Is it on mark? I don't know. Look at that. Bingo. We have a repair. Where's my mark at? Was I close to the mark? It looks like I was pretty close. Yep, I am now. Look at that. Look at that, right where we want to be. That was the best fix I've come up with yet for doing one of these. Okay, there's my missing bolt. There you go. So there's the answer. If you're half a tooth off, or full tooth off here on your timing down here, go ahead and flip this gear over one tooth, and then it comes right on the money right here where you want it to be. So that will time it. There you go. Just learned something. Only been doing this for 40 years. I haven't tried that trick before. There you go. See, it's a pain in the ass motor, but I learned something. Okay, so now we got a good answer how to make the timing that work fine. So I'm happy with that. Now let's go see what happened to our extra breather timing here. What the hell, we're in here, might as well see what happens. So let's see here, we back this thing up. And pump's not tight. Where's it coming around? Yep, coming around, coming around. I think we're about there. Look at that. We're halfway between our two black marks now, which is good. And there we go there, and we go over here to our other mark, somewhere about in that area. And looks like we're on this black mark now, which isn't the wrong spot because it should be way over here. But at least we're exactly 45 degrees off that way. Before we were different. We were on this spot here. So I wonder if I'm going, yeah, we have to go further because we retarded the pump. Yeah. So we're even further off that way, but our other line comes in pretty good. So, alright, so I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be a big thing, but we're back where we need to be here, so I'm happy with it. Okay. I think we got what we're going to do tonight. So, yeah, it's a little bit past 10 now. Good place to stop. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to, I'm going to go ahead and leave the motor together. I'm going to go ahead and, after I get this whole thing together, I'll make a final decision if I'm going to shorten this up or not. So I might still shorten that 20 thou. Someone asked about shimming the sprocket. Put a spacer between here. The problem is when you put a spacer in here, a little thin washer, you're pushing against the spline way up inside there where you can't see it. So you're only pushing a small little shoulder right here. And you're tightening this up pretty tight. You know, a few hundred foot-pounds of torque, that's what I do, you know, a couple hundred probably. I torque the snot out of it with that nut. So you're talking minimum of 150 foot-pounds on this thing. With that amount of pressure, a little thin washer is going to probably spread out and squash or do something weird because it's not enough material there to keep it straight. These here split out on their own all the time anyway, so it's under a pretty heavy load. So I don't really want to put any kind of a shim in here. I think it's just going to wad it all up and cause a problem. So that's why you don't want to be shimming in that spot. Now I have seen these things where people have cut these down, but this one looks like it's fairly tall, but maybe it is cut down. I don't know. I have not compared the Sprocket to another one. I guess I can go compare it. Doesn't take much to do that. So we can probably go take a quick look at that and see if it's been cut, because I have seen these things modified. This obviously can be shortened up. The bearing is up against the snap ring. Where I Loctited it, it didn't move. With all that beating on it, I did not move it in, so that's a plus. Because when you put pressure on the throwout bearing over here, it's going to push this way anyway, so you want to make sure it stays this way. So let's go see what we got on that. So get our caliper here. Maybe we'll luck out and it's been butchered. You never know. Things do happen. Okay, I got 312 over there. Let's go measure it on this side. 310. That's pretty accurate. Okay. So we're 5/16 of an inch step. Yeah. Motor sprockets. Do we have any early ones in here? There's one right there. .303, 320, so they average about the same. I'm over here at an angle. These aren't, it's not exactly a flat surface here. They cut at an angle a lot of times. So that one's 322 on that side, 305 on this side, so it's 310 average. So I'd say it's the same thing. So it looks like the sprocket has not been cut. That's the only one I see that's early. It's another late one. Alright, so we're going to call that as being stock. Boxes are heavy. So that means we can't change the sprocket out and gain anything, so we're stuck with what we got on that part. Alright, so we know the sprocket has not been modified, so we'll leave that at that. Alright, let's see what else can be done on this thing. Sounds good. I think that's about it on that. Okay, I think we're okay on all this other stuff here. Like I said, I know I'm pretty good with the offset here being off. I'm not going to worry about it too much. So the only real big problem we had was this, and looks like we fixed it. Alright, so tomorrow, assembly time. Get this thing buttoned up. That'll be something new. There you go.